Israeli society is designed for this as well. Obviously, the Iron Dome has created a ridiculous sense of comfort for Israeli society that who knows how they'll react to this level of disruption. Having said that, however, they knew that this was going to happen, and they very quickly said, essential services only. We're fighting Iran. We're going to strike Iran. We're going to go to war with Iran. Like, it was a basic war declaration, right? And they knew that there was going to be retaliation, which is why I assume all the fucking the remaining anti-Zionist Jewish Israelis in my chat right now are probably watching from a fucking bunker. There are protections for this, right? You have the Iron Dome, you have the Arrow defense systems, you have numerous incredibly expensive defense systems. They are not infinite, though. They do not have infinite ammunition. They have the THAAD, they have the Patriot, they have American defense as well, working alongside the Israeli defenses. They have the Jordanian defense that is also intercepting missiles and drones. David Sling is another one as well. Just something to consider. Iran's air defense is now actually working at intercepting Israeli attacks. Yes, I suspect that they blew their first load. I don't know if there's more. I'm sure there might be. But oh fucking Christ, the alert's busted again. Jesus Christ. Hold on. I'm getting an editor to look at it. Is it possible Iran could get some help from somewhere else? No. Iran has no allies. Russia is entirely too busy doing an illegal and unjustifiable occupation of Ukraine. Obviously, and China is a non-interventionist. At most, they'll offer some supplies. You know, who knows? But obviously, Hezbollah is gutted, eviscerated by endless bombing from Israel against Lebanon. And, there's no, it's just Yemen. And I believe Yemen this morning, before Iran even struck, actually turned around and sent a missile that struck, I think, the West Bank. It might have hit Hebron. Not sure if they actually hit a Jewish settlement in Hebron or if they actually hit a Palestinian Palestinian village in Hebron. But the entire axis of resistance against American imperialism and Israel in the region is incredibly limited. It's just militancies that Iran funds and offers logistics to and offers training to. And the takeover of Syria obviously played a major role in the supply chain, destroying the supply chain that... Yeah, look, the Houthi missile fired earlier this hour was not intercepted, according to the IDF. It struck near the West Bank town of Hebron. So with Syria being overtaken by an American asset, with Zelensky, former Al-Qaeda, Zelensky, there is no sustainable way of sending munitions into Lebanon for Hezbollah to utilize against Israel now. Anyway, here's some images. It is also very interesting seeing like Fox News and Western media coverage over like some apartment complexes in Tel Aviv incurring damages, because like now you know how the media covers like actual human beings in a densely populated civilian area when they get bombed. Like, they remembered that there are humans in those buildings. So it's also the dichotomy is very interesting, because like literally not even 24 hours ago they were talking about how awesome it was that Israel was like launching this incredibly sophisticated campaign in Tehran. But once once Israel gets penalized in retaliation from a sovereign state that it violated the sovereignty of, all of a sudden everyone's like, the horror, the shock, I can't believe it. Meanwhile, of course, Israel has been doing a fucking ethnic cleansing campaign that it even escalated in the last 48 hours in Gaza. Okay? Like, that helmet is not going to help you, big dog. You know what I mean? Trey, what's that helmet going to do, Trey? It's not going to help.
Is Iran capable to, in its words, unleash so much chaos in the country there? Is it capable of doing it now, especially being hit by Israel?
You mean the West Bank? Wait, what? No, they're hitting Tel Aviv, big dog. The fucking clouds of smoke are coming from Tel Aviv. Obviously, the Yemen targeting capabilities are very different than Yemen's targeting capabilities are very limited in comparison to the Iranian targeting capabilities.
But in terms of those hits that left enormous craters just north of Tel Aviv, very close to the Mossad headquarters, I was there on the ground, and when you saw the size of those craters, had that struck a building, you would be talking about incredible damage, enormous numbers of casualties. And so the Israelis did get quite lucky.
Soon in Tehran, Israeli minister poses with son of deposed Iranian monarch. Israeli Diaspora Affairs Minister Amichai Chikli shared a photo with Reza Pahlavi, the exiled Iranian opposition figure. Yeah, they're like, we're going to put back the fucking monarchy. We're going to restore the monarchy so that you can have a democracy, a democratic monarchy in Iran.
Devastating picture in terms of casualties on the ground. The sources that I've been speaking to in Israel over the course of the last 24 hours have all made clear that they expected that Iran's retaliation this time would look quite different, that it would be much more significant than what we saw in October. And while we certainly haven't yet seen that in terms of the numbers of missiles that Iran appears to have fired, at least according to the information we have right now from the Israeli military, it certainly is looking like those Israeli officials were right when they predicted a very significant Iranian retaliation. And then, of course, you have to keep in mind that this is likely going to continue for days, if not weeks. The Israeli military, the Israeli prime minister has made clear that Israeli attacks in Iran will not be limited to a one-day operation. We have seen, of course, Israeli jets.
Yeah, that's the other side. Red Alert app in Israel has crashed. I mean, it makes sense. The entire fucking skyline is lit up right now. It's just... The Red Alert app is insignificant to use in the situation. It's just all Red Alert. Everything is red. Hey, Hasan, how can I explain to my Cuban mother that Israel is engaging in a genocide? I don't know. I don't know how, if they haven't figured it out by this point. I mean, just literally tell them all the children that Israel has murdered. And also, it is utterly irrelevant in this at this point. Like, that part is an utterly irrelevant piece of the puzzle here, okay? Anyway... If America intervenes, Iran should burn the Saudi oil fields. That is the nuclear option. The real nuclear option here that Iran has is not necessarily like actual nukes, but it's actually disrupting the entirety of global trade with its action against the oil refineries. Okay. The Skyline live, by the way, third wave coming soon. Yeah. So. Netanyahu calls Iran strikes necessary to prevent the war he just started. I like that The Onion is trying to not be aggressive in its commentary, for the record. Wouldn't China intervene before it came to that? I don't know. I suspect. Okay, Iranian news outlets announce a second wave of missile strikes on Israel labeled Operation True Promise 3. In addition to military sites, the attacks are suggested to be targeting nuclear facilities inside Israel as well. The thing is, they don't have they don't have a reliable way of consistently pummeling targets targets inside of Tel Aviv, targets inside of Israel in general. They don't. So It's more so about overwhelming the defense systems to the best of their ability while also having a couple of the missiles that they lobbed get through. Iran does not have a way of consistently striking inside of Israel in a way that like Israel has a way of, in the same way that Israel is allowed to do this or Israel is capable of doing this, specifically because Israel can do precise striking. Israel can fly and get refueled on the way, all the way over to Iran and make up that distance and use airplanes to directly, like jet fighters, to directly target inside of Iran, right? Iran can't do that. Iranian Air Force does not have the capability, obviously, and also Iran would have to fly over hostile airspace to be able to get there. That's never going to happen. So the only thing that they have at their disposal is missile strikes and drone swarms. Okay? Israel starts this. My friend, there's never been a moment where Israel hasn't started shit. Okay? Hold on. But yeah, second and third wave of ballistic missile strikes is making its way to Israel right now. How much is Jordan helping? A lot. You should stop reading chat. What do you mean? The hypersonics that Iran are using are not getting intercepted in great numbers. This isn't even about overwhelming the defenses. Listen. There are this is the decades happening, if you know what I mean. All right, this is the decades happening in weeks right now.
You can. What we're hearing from a spokesperson following the red alert sirens that have been happening across the country, the MDA teams have provided medical treatment in the greater
Mossad
Tel Aviv
IDF's
area.
very own Barak Ravid,
what
Israeli
looked
official
like
U.S. forces
the
participating in intercepting missiles in
area,
Iranian
either
attack. Of
the
course,
ground or the
I told you that
building
that was going to
We're
happen.
seeing the damage done to the building there. This is a live shot of Tel Aviv. 5 injured individuals is the latest that we're hearing. 1 in moderate condition, 4 lightly injured by shrapnel. They have been evacuated to the hospital as we do await an update on them. As you can imagine, right now they're still responding to the scene there, Jen.
Well, it's interesting, and as serious as it may sound in terms of injuries on the ground, that is a very light casualty toll. If those individuals are not seriously injured and nobody has been killed, given that 100 ballistic missiles were fired at Israel tonight,
I'll be honest with you. Worst case scenario is America says, all right, it's time, and we're going to war with Iran. Best case scenario is Iran is able to deter Israel and America by way of Israel into backing down. Okay? Backing down, getting back to the fucking negotiations table and getting back to the bargaining. This is, here, I'll use an analog that white people care about, like Ukraine and Russia. Remember when we were talking about like how Ukraine did this like massive drone strike on Russian aircraft, the Russian bomber planes? And I talked about how sophisticated this plan was and how good it was technically to develop leverage in the negotiations process. Think about it like that, okay? I know it's going to be really hard for some of the white people to comprehend what I'm saying here because, like, you're like, what? You're comparing Ukraine, a Christian country, to Iran, the scariest nation on the planet? But, like, major forces like this, regional powers like this, whether it be the global hegemonic superpower, the United States of America, or a regional power like Russia, they only respond to deterrence, and deterrence only comes from force. Okay, at its most base, At its most basic form, might is right is the only thing that these guys operate on. So you have to issue penalties to the state that is enacting this violence. This is what Israel has shown every single country in the fucking region. Therefore, the best case scenario is that this retaliation for a relatively comfortable Western adjacent nation like Israel is too much to bear, right? Because we don't know what this is going to look like. We don't know what the end point of the Iranian response is going to look like. We don't know how much they will be able to target military facilities or even like a nuclear facility, right? But in that process, if they are able to, or rather, even if they don't target nuclear facilities, what will Israeli society say when finally met with a fraction of the damage that their military conquest has pursued in all of their neighbors, in their entire neighborhood, whether it be Syria, whether it be Lebanon, whether it be obviously the worst version of this in the Gaza Strip? What will Israeli society do? Will they go, stop playing, stop gambling with our lives, enough is enough? Or will they actually respond with increasing militancy and an appetite for more death and destruction? That's another factor to consider here, okay? Same with the United States of America. Is this deterrence going to be enough for America to basically abide by the wishes of Israel, or for America to say, okay, we'll dial it back. We'll de-escalate here. Okay? That line of thinking is very American. They like us have to taste for their own blood. Wait, what? No, I'm saying that the only way, that the modus operandi here is responding to I tweeted this earlier, okay? I said Iran has to retaliate because Israel has shown that they only back down when met with deterrence. Do not let anyone tell you that this response was unexpected. Israel and the U.S. both knew it would happen. That's why they declared a state of emergency right as they blew up Tehran. Okay? The nuclear negotiations was, okay, don't send me Felix Biederman tweets today, okay? I can't respond. I love Felix. I'm talking to him privately, but I cannot publicly say anything about whatever Felix is posting. Don't do it. Look at the new video they're showing on Al Jazeera.
Issue and its unwillingness to make peace with the leadership of the Palestinians, of the PLO, and negotiate the two-state solution with them. But in that case of Iran, I believe that Iran has no case at all.
Hello there, I'm Laura Kyle. You're watching Al Jazeera's continuing coverage of a major escalation in the Middle East. Iran has promised retaliation to Israel's unprecedented attack, and it has begun. Just in the past hour, Tehran says it's launched hundreds of ballistic missiles towards Israel in 2 separate waves. The skies of Tel Aviv were ablaze. Israel says its air defenses are working to intercept incoming projectiles. Israeli media says at least 7 people have been injured. Now, Iran's supreme leader says Tehran will attack without mercy,
POV.
saying Israel has, quote, launched a war.
Life will become bitter for them, without doubt. They cannot think that they've hit us and it's over. No, they started this. Now they've launched a war. We will not let them get away with this large-scale crime. The forces of the Islamic Republic will deliver huge blows to the Zionist regime. My dear people should know that we have no shortcomings in delivering an answer to this.
Ori Goldberg is an Israeli political commentator and is currently taking shelter following Iran's strikes on Tel Aviv. Now, he joins us from the phone from inside a shelter, so the line may not be terribly clear, but we're going to persevere and see if we can get an idea from him more the situation. Ori, just checking first of all that you can hear us clearly and whether you can tell us what's happening around you.
I can. I hope you can hear me. The entire country pretty much is sheltering. Although there are localized alerts, the general guidance to enter what is officially called the state notice. When further notice will come is unclear. Apparently, there are either preparations for a third wave of missiles to be launched, or that third wave has already been launched.
We are indeed hearing reports here that Iran state television saying that a third wave of missiles has been launched towards Israel. Are you then able to access news and the latest developments from underground in the bunker where you are?
Well, I wish I was in a bunker that had such accessibility and residential shelter. It depends on the shelter and depends on the building. There are shelters where the residents have taken care and have full access to sometimes like television sets. The one I'm in right now has access to AM radio, so radio bulletins. But information through, and this isn't really a barrage that's landing, certainly on where I am at the moment. So the door is sometimes open to improve reception, and people, it's unclear how long we will be sheltered.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. Listen. Iran, at a certain point, has to fucking recognize that Israel is not going to stand down. Israel is not going to back away. Israel is going to continue pummeling Tehran and killing people. I don't know what the actual number of total killed is in Iran right now from Israel's 10-hour bombing campaign. They dropped by the time I went to sleep, I was looking at it, it was like 300 fucking munitions that they deployed. Okay? Insane. At a certain point, it's going to turn into a war of attrition. It's going to turn into two states with missile capabilities and targeting capabilities that are just going band for band, if you know what I mean. Iran obviously has the upper hand in terms of having a mountainous region and also in terms of having a much larger population. Israel has the upper hand in terms of unlimited supply. Well, I guess not unlimited, but like a much larger supply of weapons transfers, American targeting systems, American targeting capabilities, American military in the region as well. Having said that, in terms of like this being a tit for tat between Israel and Iran, Iranian restraint in this process is not going to be met with Israeli restraint in retaliation. It's clear that Israel is always interested in increasing the damage. Last time they blew up Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, or the time before that, they the time before that they shot the Iranian embassy in Syria. And then this time, they directly struck Tehran, killing a bunch of civilians in the process as well. As of this morning, there's 78 people that Israel killed in Tehran, wounded 328, and the killing still hasn't stopped around the country. There's been nothing like this since the war with Iraq in the 1980s. Like, in retaliation, if Iran is doing like a much more restrained retaliation, then Israel will continue bombing the fuck out of Tehran. Here's a squirrel says, as Iran launches its retaliatory strikes, remember that Israel's intel and military headquarters are intentionally located in the middle of civilian areas in Tel Aviv, which by Israel's regime's own standard for Gaza makes everyone their human shields and legitimate targets. Schumer breaks the silence. Senate Dem leader Schumer on Israel's rising line operation. I've long said that Israel has a right to defend itself and that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. The preferred path to preventing a nuclear armed Iran has always been a strong, unrelenting diplomatic effort. Israel in 2021 built its new IDF Supreme Command in the command post in the heart of Tel Aviv, buried beneath blocks of civilian buildings. Called Fortress of Zion, it was deliberately placed so it couldn't be attacked without seeming to target civilian sites. Yeah. Projection, baby. Projection. Remember, when Israel was like, oh, they got human shields. They got human shields. And I told you, when they were talking about fucking Hamas, they have human shields. They have human shields. Pure projection. Pure projection. And it seems as though the 7 impacts that were counted all are around Tel Aviv in central Israel, and with one of the ballistic missiles landing near and causing damage to the headquarters of the Israeli Defense Force. Defense Minister Israel Katz says Iran has crossed red lines after it dared to fire missiles at civilian population concentrations in Israel. We will continue to defend the citizens of Israel and ensure that the Ayatollah regime pays a very heavy price for this heinous action, he adds. Bitch, you just killed 80 fucking Iranians, man. Yesterday. It hasn't been 24 hours. Like, what is the expectation? That Israel has a right to blow up whoever it wants at any given moment. Whenever it wants, Israel can do it. And if anyone responds to that with a much more limited, with a much more restrained and much more limited strike, a retaliatory strike, then you're still in the wrong. Incredible. This won't calm down, will it? No, of course not. Of course not. 75 years of apartheid, military occupation, ethnic cleansing campaigns, numerous pogroms that the Palestinians withstood does not mean that that the Palestinians have any right to fucking defend themselves at any given point. History started on October 7, as you know, and also history ended on October 7. Do not look to what Israel did since October 7. Do not, because that would be anti-Semitic. Okay? No, Iran was not unprepared. It seems like Iran was unprepared. It seems like they would do a better job of hiding their leaders of what the fuck happened in Lebanon. This shit is so gross. No, it's not that Iran was unprepared. I think the Iranian government is not a very popular government at all. And also there is tremendous economic instability in Iran, which also leads to further unpopularity beyond the fundamentalist policies that I think cause tremendous resentment, especially amongst the Iranian youth. And Iran's allegiance or allies in the region, like Assad, are a fucking leaky faucet, which I think played a formative role in Mossad operations being so successful, both for Hezbollah and also Iran, as opposed to October 7, where famously Yahya Sinwar did not inform Iran ahead of time, nor Hezbollah ahead of time of October 7. This plays, by my assessment, there are two competing theories on October 7. One theory is the idea that like Israel knew about it and they let it happen because they wanted to use this as like a final solution play. Okay? And the other competing theory, which is the one I believe, is that Israel's hubris made them think that this would be a manageable situation, that they would never be able to fucking break through, penetrate the Gaza boundary, and go into Israel and kidnap as many people as possible, right? So I think it's the hubris side, and it actually plays, it goes back to the same thing that I was talking about. Like if Israel, if Mossad has unimaginable penetration in both Hezbollah and Iran, as they have shown that they do, right? Then maybe they thought, considering that Hamas was not coordinating was not coordinating or corresponding with Iran or Hezbollah before October 7, they might have literally thought, yeah, no, they're not going to do shit. They're not going to do shit at all. Because the highest priority intelligence is, I assume, the people that they have on the inside, the people that they have that they are relying on for round-the-clock surveillance. And they most likely thought Hamas would never conduct a military operation like this without letting Iran and Hezbollah know. And therefore, with October 7, they just didn't think that it would be this. They did not think that it would be this large and with this many casualties in general. But yes, this, of course, shows once again that Mossad had deep penetration into, again, what are you trying to say? Iran is currently striking Israel. So are you trying to say they stop and get eviscerated since they retaliated after, or start striking civilian targets that Israel have less restraint? Because, or are you just describing the situation? I don't know what to make of this analysis. You kind of stop midway after saying, listen, boop, what? Question, knowing how much the USA has to gain from fucking Iran up, do you believe Israel truly made this choice on its own? No, of course not. Chatters, make no mistake. I will never entertain silly baby shit attitudes. Okay? I will never entertain the baby brained attitudes that you hear from mainstream press about how, Israel was really fucking over Donald Trump and how, America did not give Israel the go ahead or even literally help Israel conduct these strikes. Make no mistake, America and Israel are not separate entities. America and Israel are not two separate sovereign nations. They are one. This is why I always say simultaneously that Israel is an unsinkable aircraft carrier with its own espionage capabilities. But I also routinely tell you that Israel is like a state. And it's not like a state that is a nuclear sponge state, for example. It's not like North Dakota. It's not like South Dakota. It's the most valuable state. Israel is America's most valuable state. America would entertain blowing up South Dakota before letting Israel fall. Okay? It's not a vassal state. It is different than a vassal state. Israel is a fully blown, Israel is like up there with New York City, Washington, D.C., and fucking California as a state. That is on the value metrics. Israel's value to American foreign policy is seen as basically is akin to New York City. Okay, Tel Aviv is like basically fucking New York City. Two Israeli officials claimed to Axios that Trump and his aides were only pretending to oppose an Israeli attack in public and didn't express opposition in private. We had a clear U.S. green light, one claimed. Of course. By the way, yes, as I also said, Squirrel was right on this. Everything being done by the Trump admin now to push the turn on Israel Netanyahu line is pure misdirection aimed at reestablishing the element of surprise ahead of the attack on Iran, which requires both a sustained operation at nuclear. For the attack to have at least some chance of success, it is essential for the element of surprise to be reestablished. Think about it. This person is a, whoa, what the fuck? Little F, little baby F, mini F, mini F, mini F. Calm down, mini F. We're still here. It's a small F, chatters. Stop freaking out. Stop freaking out. Calm down. Now, remember. For the attack to have at least some chance of success, it is essential for the element of surprise to be reestablished. The fake negotiations in Oman with the Iranians, the motion of waltz, and the whining about neocons like the Saudi Arabia speech, the fake defeat against the Houthis, and all the fake leaks about how Trump is really very angry and feels betrayed by Netanyahu are all intentionally designed to create a feeling of passivity among the Iranians and the belief that the attack may not actually happen. Netanyahu's trips to D.C. was where they decided to adopt the strategy, and then immediately thereafter it was launched, and the Trump turn on Israel propaganda began in full swing. The entire media class is, of course, playing along with it, with their anonymous sources giving them leaks that establish and launder the narrative. Trump's trip to Saudi Arabia and the Gulf puppet regime is aimed at shoring up support among U.S., NATO, Israeli empire's Arab shield and consolidate inclusion of Syria's Erdogan Jelani fascist puppets into it ahead of the attack. By the way, the reason why this is important is because they wrote this on May 14th, 2025, when every single person was full tilt talking about how, like, Trump is going to fucking figure it out. Trump is going to actually fix the situation. Zay was one of the very few people out there that was like, nope, all of this is fake. All of this is a sham. And America and Israel are aligned on this. Israel doesn't do anything without the United States of America. Yeah. I told you the U.S. and the genocidal Israeli death cult were just buying time and using deception to prepare for the war in Iran. All the experts who bought into that bullshit and helped launder it should never be listened to. Zionist hegemony dictated that the war would happen. And when they say Zionist hegemony, they're talking about, like, America first and foremost. They're not talking about Jews. They're not talking about Israel. They're talking about America's ambition, okay? America's ambition in the region, its grand design for the region, is inherently a Zionist one. This is precisely the reason why you have so many Christian Zionists that are in positions of power, that are ideologically super invested in this. That's why there are a million different fucking tweets from Donald Trump from 2011, 2013, talking about how, like, why aren't we bombing Iran? Why are we not bombing Iran? Asked President Trump if the U.S. was given any heads up ahead of the operation. Heads up. It wasn't a heads up. It was, we know what's going on. POTUS said he spoke with the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu yesterday and plans to speak with him again today. So remember this. Remember all the fucking anti-war championing that was coming from dumbass Republicans. I fucking told you that it was all bullshit over and over again. And make no mistake when I say this. Make no mistake when I say this. Democrats would do this exact same thing. Democrats maybe won't do the same, like, you know, song and dance in the way that Donald Trump does. They wouldn't go about it the same way, but they would do the exact same thing. Democrats, if they were in charge right now, would be doing 100% the exact same thing, 1-to-1. Make no fucking mistake. Anyone who tries to tell you that Kamala Harris will be different is a fucking delusional moron. Do not listen to them. Why? Kamala Harris's own campaign aides have actually come out and talked about how they would be doing a better job defending Israel right now. Chuck Schumer has come out and launched his support. Chuck Schumer, a week ago, was complaining that Donald Trump was Taco Trump. He wasn't going to actually fucking strike Iran. American foreign policy, as I have said a million times over, is fucking uniparty. It is uniparty. There's only one goal here, okay? That's it. Make no mistake. I said this as well. I've repeated this a million times before the election, but we'll continue to say it. American foreign policy is uniparty. Israel rarely does anything without America's go-ahead. Trump was never a peaceful dove, but them war hawks let him lie like that, and Trump is a weak baby. Okay? I mean, look at this. Look at every single senator, every single fucking politician, Republican and Democrat alike. Pray for Israel, 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 please. Pray for Israel. This is after Israel struck Iran, by the way. Not when Iran is striking Israel in retaliation now. This came literally minutes after. Fucking minutes after Israel struck Iran. Kamala's campaign had attempted to outflank Trump on Iran and assail him for not retaliating against Iran further in 2020 when he assassinated Soleimani, and Iran in turn attacked al-Assad air base. A sign that Kamala would not have been any different was this woman was her national security advisor. The statement from Secretary Rubio conveys that Israel struck Iran without the umbrella of American support. While Biden twice deployed U.S. troops and resources to defend Israel against direct Iranian strikes last year, Trump isn't promising Israel defense against an Iranian counterstrike, though it's clearly planning for one. Grateful that successive Democratic administrations have provided Israel with the means to defend itself. This was Kamala Harris's, this was going to be a foreign policy advisor for Kamala Harris. What makes you fucking think that Kamala Harris will be any different than Donald Trump? You guys are fucking delusional. If Kamala Harris genuinely had a perspective that was even a little bit different than Donald Trump when it comes to Israel and defending Israel, she would have fucking let it known. She would have let it be known right now. It's like an 80-20 issue. It's like a 90-10 issue at this point. It's a 90-10 issue for the fucking Democratic Party, and she still hasn't said anything about, like, why hasn't Trump actually implemented a ceasefire? I thought he was going to be a peaceful president. She didn't say any of those things. Why? She's no longer running for president. If she truly was this peaceful dove, as all these fucking dickhead Democrats kept telling me over and over again, why has she not said anything?